Good afternoon, friends and traders. Welcome to the Market Recap. I am Dan Hodgman. It is Wednesday, May 26th. I hope you guys have all had a great day so far. Market's relatively quiet. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes these quiet days set up pretty nicely for me. You know, when I have a lot of other things going on, I kind of relish when the days are quiet. I can put on a little bit of a trade here, a little trade there, look away, do my own stuff, and come back, and hopefully things worked out in my favor. A lot of these markets stayed inside. Crude oil, looking at kind of end of the day here, about 10 cents up from where it ended yesterday. You've got S&P 500 up a little bit. We caught a bounce off a settlement price. We moved through it just slightly. We'll look at that one a little closer and see really where the opportunity was. We know we're like to look at settlement price. It creates a chance. NASDAQ, on the other hand, right off the open, broke down to settlement price, and we popped. And when I say popped, we didn't make a huge move, about 50, 60 points, maybe we saw 100 in there. Not a huge move. Can you turn my mic? Yes, I can. Let me know if that's better for you guys. I use this mixing board for a lot of the things that we do, so I'm always adjusting the volume on it. But we got a little move off of settlement price off of settlement price in the NASDAQ. You got gold kind of dipping down a little bit. We had that big upswing move yesterday, rallied a little bit more in the overnight session. We started to hit the wall a little bit over 1910, and that market broke back down to the 1900 mark. We are looking at roll right now. I've been kind of flipping between the two, between June and August. Volume is still there. I mentioned that was on the August contract. We still got a little bit of a spread. Volume is still pretty split. I know we kind of mentioned you look at yesterday for the roll. We are still in the middle of it. So which product you're trading right now, it's or which month, it's both there. I think that's kind of leading to a little bit of the chop here in that market. Get the euro though. We got some directional move in the overnights and the regular trading hours today. Finally, after we opened up and the equities, it started to pick up. It looked like, man, maybe we got a chance to close the gap to settlement price. Rejected pretty quickly at that overnight consolidation and rotated back over and continued to the downside. And the 10-year note really just worked its way around settlement, a little above, little below. Not much direction either way on that market. Hello, Norman, Tanya, Mike, Greg, Bill, former Vice President Joe Biden, and PD legend. Is that something you look for? Bounce off of settlement. I was actually watching that in NQ. Absolutely, PD. I'm always looking for opportunity to or away from settlement price. So if I'm opening up away from settlement price and I'm in a location that I think there's an opportunity, I'm looking to take a trade to closing that gap to settlement price. Now, if I'm in a spot where, you know what, I'm taking a lot of risk to get in that trade, then I'm waiting for that market. If it starts to get down to settlement price, I'm looking at settles for the next opportunity. Settlement's going to be one of two things when the market gets to it. It's going to be either A, an accelerant in that same direction, so the market's going to blow right through it and it's going to pick up steam, or it's going to be the complete flip of that. And we're going to look at settlement price as a springboard. So that market's going to come down to it, check settles, and take right back off. Kind of what we saw in the S&Ps today. It was a springboard. Now, there is a lot of conversation around why settlement is important. And I'll tell you mine. One of the best lessons I've ever had. When I first started doing this, everything revolved around settlement price because we ran P&Ls at the end of every single day, based our P&L on our position. Was totally based off of where settlement price was posted. That's where it kind of started. We looked at the market every single day. If we were away from settlement, we were just seeing if that market will get back to it. And I started to ask the question when I was younger, why is settlement price so important? And my dad looked at me and said, it's a magnet. Don't ask questions. It's a magnet. It wants to either suck price to it or press price away. So we have polar, negative to negative is going to send the market away when it's a magnet, or sometimes it's negative to positive. It's going to suck it right in. That was the best explanation for it. And it works. It really helps me out when I'm looking at some of this stuff. So settlement price to me is the first key that we look at each and every day. When I write down levels, when I'm looking at the market, first thing I do, I grab a card like this, and it's very simple. I go, all right, we're looking at S&Ps. S&Ps today, settlement price is 41.85 half. I start with that in the center, and that tells me that's my center point. That's where I'm looking for this market to rotate around. Then I start to just put levels up above, and I put levels down below. And as I go through them, I'm checking them off. Settlement price, very commonly one of the most checked prices I look at in the market. It creates such opportunity time and time again. You go back and look historically. If the market opens up away, how often it retraces back. If it opens up at settlement price, you can look for great opportunity. So I highly stress watching it. Don't have to use it right away. I recently had a conversation about a month and a half ago with a trader, and I basically walked him through the trade of closing the gap. That first simple strategy of a setup. If the market opens up away and we're in an area we can manage that risk, we're looking to close the gap to settlement price. It worked for him. He pointed out that he made $1,500 over just a few days taking that trade, and I love hearing stuff like that. So it's a simple trade. It works. Not all the time. You're going to get stopped out. Market's not going to always be the case, but it's a high probability setup for me that I use all the time. Brian, good to see you. Vince, Greg, settlement, the 3 p.m. close. No, not necessarily. It's usually based off of pit close, so it depends on each and every market, but there's a little bit of a calculation that goes into it. It's not so much the actual closing price, but usually ends up right there. If you're looking for settles, you can get it in a lot of different places. Some platforms will, it's an automatic addition that will automatically post on there. You can always add it into the quote board. Every single quote board has the option to add settlement price, and you can always get it on the CME website, and then as well on the forecast for the 6 markets that we look at. John will make sure he touches on that in the morning, and I try and touch on it every afternoon. So a couple different places to get it. And Alex, good to see you. Well, we've got a visitor walking up to the house right now. You guys might recognize him. John Hogan just pulled into my driveway. He's out there. Give a hello, Hogue. He must be deaf. Hogue is here. Let's go take a look at these charts. Oh, there he is.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome. Come on in. John is in town, so he's stopping on by. I'm going to have to get out of here and have ourselves a little beer. All right, let's go look at these charts and just see what we got going on here today. As always, we're starting with crude oil here. Like I said, a lot of these markets stayed inside, and we get to utilize some pretty cool levels that we look at in these markets. Well, crude oil opened up away from settlement price. As soon as this market opened up, it made no attempt to go lower. And look at that, retraced right back to settlement price up here at 66.07. And just through there, and you gotta love how this works out right up to yesterday's value area high and broke right back down to settlement price. I mean, if it doesn't set up better than that, I don't know what does. It's a beautiful trade. You're locking in a pretty nice 75 cents up to $1 on a trade like that. Next, let's look over at the S&P 500. Like I said, really quiet market here. Now, this was an interesting setup. We opened up kind of at settlement price. We dipped right to yesterday's regular trading hour swing low. We talk about this one all the time. We dip right down to it. To me, this is a great chance. We're looking for settlement price to be a springboard. Yes, it's not a finite level. You got to keep that in mind. If there's something below that's going to attract attention, like a prior day swing low, we watch that market approach, and if it rejects pretty quickly, this is a spectacular chance to get in on a trade and run it higher. And notice where it ran right up to yesterday's value area high. This is something we talk about all the time. I hope you guys took that trade there. Worked nicely for me, and I hope it worked for you guys. All right, let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ really tight here today. Not a lot to say about it. We rotated down. Like I said, we opened up right at settlement price. We bounced off and came right to last night's overnight consolidation. Really not a lot of move here. Not a lot of direction. This, to me, one solid trade here today off of settlement price up to the overnight consolidation. All right, next. the gold. Like I said, gold is in rollover. We haven't really haven't fully rolled. So it's really hard to talk about this market. When these markets are in rollover, it's ideal, kind of step away. Slow it down, maybe look at a different market, take a couple of days off. Rollover is relatively tough to trade. This market here, we saw it struggled in the overnight session. Once we opened up, we got a little bit of a pop, but it was rejected pretty darn quick. Equities opened, and this market just continued lower. And finally, towards early afternoon here, we finally made it down to settlement price. But here's what I love. Here's the kicker. Unchecked point of control from yesterday was checked. Beautiful target down below. So if you're able to get in on the short, great opportunity. We were able to short at that consolidation from the overnight session after we recognized sellers were overpowering. We were finding lack of buyers, and this market rotated over. All right, next, looking at the euro. Euro finally got direction in regular trading hours. Here's where it shook probably some people out on the short side, right? We saw it open up, started to make the attempt towards settlement price up here at 122.60 half, 122.60 half. It started to make the attempt. But what did we have getting in the way? We have yesterday's value area low, overnight consolidation, both getting in the way. So when we're looking for a pullback, these are the areas we're looking to get in at for the opportunity to keep our risk extremely tight. We're not trying to short down below when the market's making new lows. We're trying to find those pullbacks. And where are those pullbacks? Well, what did we say yesterday in the recap? We said exactly this. You're looking for pullbacks to come to key levels that are going to create an opportunity where you can manage your risk. That's what we had here today in the euro. You can get in this trade extremely cheap, run this thing down, and hope that the direction continues. And lastly, we'll look at the 10-year note. Not a whole lot to say on the 10-year note. We opened up at settled 2 ticks above. We moved 2 ticks below. We got 2 ticks above. And finally, almost made it. Didn't quite get there, but almost made it down to yesterday's point of control. So not a whole lot to say on that front. So those are our markets here today. Couple things to touch on. We got a little bit of controversy going on with the Fed here. Yellen skips out on the House Small Businesses. And, well, both sides aren't very happy about that one. President Biden is ordering a closer review of COVID origins as the U.S. intel weighs this whole Wuhan lab leak theory. I'm not going to get into conspiracies on this one, but hey, that's the headline, and I'm reading it just that way. Yields up slightly, 30-year, 2 basis points. Nothing worth writing home about. 10-year up 15, but quiet day on the yields front after the last couple of days being way down. VIX, no surprise here. It's dipping a little bit more, 17.5 on that one. But now we got to look at our stocks. How are our stocks doing? Well, GameStop. I mean, I'm just going to say it. Holy shit, $240 on GameStop. Up $200 in this thing over the last couple of months since the the second sell-off, or the initial sell-off after we made the highs. Man, oh man. Tesla getting a little bit of life. We're up at 620 there. Our Airbnb stock, though, not looking so hot. We're still we're up a little bit today, up about 75 cents at $134.75 there. All right, now let's look at our Bitcoin. We like watching Bitcoin. It's been an interesting one for us. I've got the wrong one up here. Here we go. The standard Bitcoin. Remember, we bought that one about $34,000. No surprise. You got Iran now making it illegal to even mine Bitcoin because of rolling blackouts from everyone trying to mine it. So that's at $38,550. All right, tomorrow. Get durable goods, 7:30 a.m. Central Time. Same with the GDP and jobless claims. This is not a GDP you have to be flat for here at Top Step in Step 2 or in the funded level, but definitely recommend if you're trading an outright market, be flat during that. And then you got jobless claims as well at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. So it's going to be a heavy morning. John will touch base with you guys on that one during the market forecast. Some of the numbers came out, and maybe we get some volatility from it. Maybe we'll see. Woohoo! We'll see that VIX spike. So that's what we got tomorrow. Lastly, got to touch on it. This date in history. First one, 1897. Tickets for, or the first copies of the classic vampire novel Dracula went on sale in London. So
Remember that.
John was
I was there.
John was there. And I think I had one more. Yes, I had two more actually. 1927 was this day was the last day of the Model T production at Ford, and then in 1907, the Duke John Wayne was born. Might be a sign to go watch a John Wayne movie tonight. I'll definitely be watching one probably. All right. Just want to say hello to. Make sure we got everything in here. Hogue, everyone's saying hello and hide the bourbon. Hogue left a bottle of bourbon here last time he's here, so we can leave that out for him. Vince, I think my screen looked good. Hopefully it was. We got things cleared up there. PD, I say it over and over again in these. I need to learn to hold for longer periods to give it a chance to get to settlement price. Close your eyes. Go do something to distract yourself. Put the stops in place. Don't go too far from your computer. Make sure if you don't lose power or internet. Play some phone games. Put on some Netflix. Do something to help kind of... Right? Hide the mouse. Look at a higher time frame chart to slow things down so you're not kind of getting that anxiety. There's a lot of things we can do there. And Tanya, yes, I agree. That's where the money is at. Sean, got the trade in ES for $1,400. Love hearing that, Sean. Way to go. Norman, the moves back to settlement saved my day. Man, I love hearing that. How often do me and Hogue talk about how important settlement price is? Take advantage of it. Look for the opportunity. Sometimes it's not there, and that's okay. Greg, any thoughts on RTY or not relevant? To be honest with you, Greg, it's something I really personally just don't look at. I can definitely, take a glance and give some thoughts at another day, but I got a lot of markets I'm looking at. Adding one more becomes confusing sometimes.
Where's the bourbon?
Yeah, Hogue needs the bourbon. Sean says, thanks for the levels today, Hogue. And Vince is drinking Maker's Mark. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and sign on out of here. I'm going to have a cocktail with Hogue. I hope you guys all have a great day. Stay safe, wash your hands, trade smart, and trade well. John will be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. So until then, I look forward to seeing you guys in the markets. Take care, everybody.